Okay, good morning. My name is Curtis Campbell. I'm the head of marketing for Office Pro. We're a Microsoft certified partner, and obviously very excited to welcome you to today's session, focused on all things Outlook with a handful of very senior, experienced Microsoft experts. And so we're obviously very excited to welcome them and make this a very interactive session. By way of housekeeping, this session is being recorded. So by joining, you are consenting to the session being recorded, but it will not be made public without your consent. But it will be available also after the session. It'll be sent to you after the session is completed, so you guys can view it again on demand. So again, my name's Curtis Campbell. Welcome. Super excited you're here. Up on my screen, you'll see we are very excited about some content that we have readily available. MCP is an acronym for Microsoft Certified Professionals. We have gathered together dozens of Microsoft Certified Professional manuals. We'd welcome you to download those, read through them. There's some practice questions, and then of course, once you're done, you can actually log the course completion in your Microsoft profile. So the fun little gamification and badging will all be yours as well at no cost. So we welcome you to go and visit this page and start consuming that content and make yourselves more productive and enjoy greater job satisfaction. So thank you again for joining Office Pro and my friends here. So I'm going to turn it over without further ado to my friend Lance. So Lance, it's all you.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. We are doing all things Outlook today here on Office Hours. I have two very good trainers here that I've worked with and in a number of different capacities, as well as seeing them at different conferences that I've attended. And they're both here to discuss all things Outlook. We have Paul Pennant, is from the UK, and he is going to talk about classic Outlook. And then we have Teresa Cyrus, who is going to talk about the new modern Outlook that everything's going to. So at the end, we're going to try to have a discussion on pros and cons, which one you like and why you like either new Outlook or old Outlook. And with that, I'll turn it over to Paul to start off. Thank you.
Thank you, Lance, for introducing me. So I'm really happy to be starting this session. I wouldn't call it the classic Outlook, I'd call it the real Outlook, because it's something that I've been so used to using for the last 20 years or more. And by the time I've done my session, I don't think there'll be anything else to show for the new Outlook. So we'll see how that one goes when we start off with it. So what we're going to do is I'll just share my screen. Would that be okay? Here we are. So this is the Outlook that we're all used to using. And the one thing I wanted to cover very, very, very quickly was just the ability to use categories just to make your life a little bit easier. So this is my training account here. And what I've done here is I've organized my emails by category. So if I do it by date, that's the traditional view. You can see the categories here on the right-hand side. So what I do, and it's not just my training account, I do this for real, is I like to organize my inbox by categories. When I'm training a lesson, the ones at the top, those are the ones I'm going to use first. Then if I want to show people that we've got colors in Outlook, I've got my categories there. This is my expired emails. And these are the emails I'm showing people to do with groups in Outlook, which I know you're a fan of, Lance, in terms of how Outlook is working. The place where some people use categories is in your calendar. I don't use categories in my calendar because that's a little bit of a blunt tool. So my preference is to give that a skip. However, if we go to my contacts, again, I've got these organized by category. So let's say it's organized by category now. I've got these people here. These are my best friends. So because I've organized it by category, I can start doing some really interesting stuff. So for example, I could just click on the category. Then I've got my mail merge option here. So I'm going to do a new document here. I want to merge it to email as an example. This is going to be called Lance is cool email. Open it up. It's now opened up Microsoft Word. And because I've got them categorized, like it's bringing me back to Outlook. Obviously here, there's my first name. Yo, my people. I've just done a little bit of a cheat with the signature. I can preview my results. Everything's looking good. Send the email messages. And because I've used categories, it just makes the whole process of organizing everything a little bit easier. Just going back to my sent items, because I've used categories, every single person has received a personalized email, which just makes life a little bit easier. The main place I use categories is in my tasks. So here we are, we've got my task list here. And I'm just going to put in, I need to buy some milk, need to buy some eggs, need to pay for my tax, etc. So now if I go into my tax and go to my categories, I could use the categories called accounts, and you don't see anything changing there. So what I tend to do is I click on view, and instead of arranging it by start date, I just obviously arrange it by categories. So when I've got my task list, this is a really, really nice way to be able to start grouping different types of work in a similar way. I used categories on my notes as well. So this is the traditional way to do it. I'll click back on view, change my view to the list, organize it by categories. So if I need to store information in my Outlook system, icons are okay, but just categorizing things just makes things so much easier to organize. Has anyone got any comments or thoughts on categories at the moment, please?
What's the best way? What's the best way to set up the categories? I mean, like, you go to click on categories, it says red category, green category, blue category. How would you approach?
You're looking at the colors. I don't look at the colors when I have categories.
Okay. So yeah, I guess my question is, how do I go about? Okay, I don't want to look at colors, but I'd like, I got a blank slate on categories. Yeah. What's the method you say is the best to approach setting up these categories to have?
There is no correct way, because it would be like saying, if I want to organize the food in my home, or I want to organize things in my garage, there's a correct way to do it. There isn't a correct way to do it. I'm just going to give you some shelves. You decide which categories you're going to start using. So for example, in my inbox, I have a category called KP. That category stands for my business manager, who's called Christina, and my name's Paul. So we both have the category called KP, and that category means to the two of us, neither of us know what to do until I speak to the other person.
Okay. So you go into categories and you just start naming them.
Yeah, so I'll just quickly show you here. I'm going to go back in here. And I've got my inbox here. So I'm going to go to this email at the top here. And all I'm going to do is go into my categories. And once I click on categories, at the bottom, it says all categories.
Okay.
These are all of the pre-existing categories I've got. I should delete some, but it doesn't bother anybody. So I'm going to click in new, and I'm going to say, I am a fan of Lance and Teresa. So I'm going to be doing your fan club for the two of you. I could choose to change the color. It's just not my style, so I just choose whatever it lets me have. There we are. I've got the categories there. But when you get into it a little bit more, you can start renaming them. You can start deleting them. You can start having a...
And then the shortcut keys, like, so if I'm in an email and I want to categorize real quickly, I can have a shortcut key for that category and then just do that shortcut key and it would do it.
Yeah, I mean, with the shortcut key, I've got the categorize button here on my quick access toolbar. But if we go back to, I'm a fan of Lance. So if we go to, I could set it as a quick click. So I could set the quick click. I need to choose the one which is I am a fan of. So there we are. We've got the quick click set up. When I go back to my categories.
Oh, that's good.
There we are there.
And Lance,
Sorry.
I will add, think about categories, tagging. Remember in the old days when we had all our videos and we would classify our videos in different groups. So again, when Paul was saying that it's really there's no right or wrong way. It's really how you want to find your content.
Yes. So it helps with searching too as well. I don't use categories that much, so I'm wanting to start doing that more. So that's
let me give you an example. There must be something in your work that's a little bit more important than other bits. So it could be new things to learn. It could be customers. It could be accountancy. Once you start to add 1 or 2 categories, everything just makes a lot more sense. The truth is, you just need to use 1 category. And once it starts to group whatever you're doing, whether it's in your notes, in your inbox, or wherever you're doing it, once you start to use categories, it just makes things so much easier. I mean, I was going to do a little section here on search. So I can search for items by category. So I could click in here. And even if I don't put any content in, I can just refine my search by categories. So I'm going to click in here and I'm going to search for colors. And the only thing it's returning is items with the category called color. So if we look at the top, the search command, category equals colors.
Oh, that's great. Because I have emails where I try to flag them or I'll try to pin them, but I don't necessarily.
Which version are you using, Lance?
Well, I use the news version of Outlook right now, but I'll try to.
Sorry, you said the classic. You said classic, didn't you?
Well, in the classic, I used to flag them. I'd flag them and have them in my tasks flag to follow up with. But the categories, that would be easier for me to be able to search if I need to go back, because once I completed the task, I'd flag it as complete, and then it just go back into the list. And then I'd have to search on it. Maybe I'd have a follow-up email or something that would need to search on it, and I'd sit there and be looking for days trying to find the email.
Are you using search folders, Lance?
Yes, but again, I split my emails into different folders as well. And then
I'm talking about the facility here.
That I would have, different queries. But again, I just never. You get busy just reading your emails and doing multitasking, and to be able to categorize and make it easier is a great thing.
And
I'll share
more. I'll share too, you can assign multiple categories to an email. So let's say that you have it as important and you want it up under training, that you can actually assign 2 categories to a email. So depending on what your needs are right now, you can find it quickly.
Well, and I'd like to use it too. And like if I'm, I use Microsoft Loop quite a bit too. I would like to be able to have loop components in my emails and then categorize them as looped emails so that I can just go to that category. Say, these are all my emails that have loop components in them. And then I can quickly search there if I need to as well. Okay.
So the old version does have loop included as well. And obviously the new version, the new kid in town, is going to have loop components built into the new Outlook as well.
It would be nice here's some feedback from Microsoft. It would be nice that they have include loop components in their filtering, so it's easy to find. You know how we can filter on different emails. So that's a good one. I'm gonna write that one down and give them that feedback. I think that would be great.
Yeah, because if you could, just make a category called loop component, looped emails, and it just categorizes having a loop component in it. That way you can find all your emails that have loop components in them if you got, because loop components are going to be real-time updatable. So if you're executive secretary of your boss, and you manage his mailbox or her mailbox, and your teams that you're working with have loop components that they send the emails because they don't use, the bosses use teams. You can put these categorized, say, these are all your emails with loop components, so you can keep track of all the projects. So they don't have to go all these other places and learn all these new things all at once. And then you can, it's part of the adoption too, having them adopt different things to help them different ways to keep track. And then the loop components, you can link to Planner, you can link to in Teams channels and all sorts of stuff. So that's great. That's great. I'm going to start using that a little more.
Yeah, I think that was a great one. Like I said, I wrote that down because I want to give Microsoft that feedback to add that as part of the filtering.
Yeah,
it's already there.
Yeah, that'd be good. That'd be good. So, but great. That's great. Great start. Is there anything else you want to show us? Yeah, go ahead.
No, I think that's going to be it because I've got 20 minutes. So what I was going to say is just if anyone's got any questions, I'm happy to answer one or two questions. If not, I'm happy to hand over to Teresa.
Sure. Again, everyone, we will have a Q&A and discussion here at the end. And great stuff. Great stuff, Paul. Thank you so much. And Teresa,
my pleasure. Thank you so much. Over to you, Teresa.
I will share my screen. Can you see my screen? You can.
Yep.
Very good. So, happy Friday, everyone. And I have a question for you. I want to start off with a question. I see quite a bit of people here. How many of you do use, New Outlook? Are you teams? Team New Outlook, which means that you have enabled and toggled on New Outlook, you tried it, and you're currently using it. And I'm going to expand my view over here so I can see any comments. So if you using New Outlook, type hashtag New Outlook. And if you are using Classic, type Team Classic. So I just want to kind of get a feel of who's using what. So I want to just quickly introduce myself. So my name is Teresa, and I am an extroverted IT woman in technology. I'm an MVP. I'm a certified trainer, and started training like 7 years. I was a SharePoint trainer for 7 years. I've been using the Microsoft products for over 30 years. And so, yes, I've been using the product since day one. And a couple years ago, I decided that I wanted to start my own business and empower users with the transition to the cloud. And New Outlook was the inspiration for that because I knew that people were going to, have a challenge switching to the new modern Outlook, and I wanted to be there for those folks. So I am a nerdy girl. So I wanted to cover off a couple slides with you before I get into my demonstration. So there's 3 things I want to talk about. Caruana Katumu, I want to make sure I pronounce her name correctly. She always talk about, making sure you the importance of sharing why you using an application before you do a demonstration. So I want to talk about the game plan and the timelines for New Outlook. And then I'm going to introduce you to Track Creations. That's my company, Accelerate After Inbox Management. And I'll show you some useful new and enhanced features to help you manage your inbox in New Outlook. So a couple things. Get my clicker here. Okay. So some of the users has been wondering why we are shifting to New Outlook. we have many different versions of Outlook out there that has a variety of features and functionality. For an example, the Mail and Calendar app is the free personal version. These apps will be fully integrated into new Outlook by the end of this year. And currently, all devices, these are our laptops and our phones, our tablets, will have the new Outlook installed. And also, if you are a subscriber of Microsoft 365 2016 and 2019 versions, just be aware for these applications, they will end in October 2025, right? The support, Microsoft supporting them ends in October 2025. Many organizations may decide to migrate to the fully supported versions, and that's going to include new Outlook. And then the classic version, it's 27 years old and have serviced us very well over the years, but Microsoft has committed to the next generation of technologies, and Outlook's infrastructure is being rebuilt. So those are some of the whys. Microsoft's goal is to unify the Outlook app with, flexibility, scalability, and being customizable to align with the way we work today in this new era of technologies. So let's talk about the timelines. So up first, the opt-in stage, which allows users to enable new Outlook toggle and return to Classic if he or she choose to. By now, all users, including the beta, preview, and general availability users, are currently in the production stage and have experienced the option to try new Outlook. Yes, there are organizations and power users waiting for them to make that switch because there are a lot of missing features from Classic. I can't go without saying that, but there are some organizations, beginners or intermediate users, and I learned that about 17 million monthly active users are ready and has moved to new Outlook despite of the missing features. The next stage, Microsoft will provide a disruptive change before proceeding to the opt-out stage. So new Outlook will be the default app, allowing users to toggle to the classic version. This will happen after the development and of feature capabilities and quality assessment has been completed, which is Microsoft is going to complete. They are very cautious about announcing dates. They want to make sure organizations' gaps are addressed according to feedback. So here's the opportunity that your feedback does matter. Microsoft want your feedback. And then the last stage is the cutover stage. Work and school account subscribers will get a 12-month notice before new Outlook will be the Outlook. So it's coming. So if your organization is a early adopter of new Outlook, or you need a reason to become one, let me introduce you to Accelerate After Inbox Management. So I have a question for you. How do you actually manage, what are the 3 key actions you take to manage your inbox? Because we receive like 127 emails per day. Your inbox are flooded. You may be overwhelmed or working after hours to manage them. What are the 3 key things? Put it in the comments, the way you manage your inbox.
Oh, we had a question in the chat. They're asking how long the first stage will last. Yeah, for the transition, I don't know if you could tell them about the roadmap. That might help give kind of an idea of where it's going to go?
I'll go back to that slide. Here, you're talking about here, how long we're going to be in this first stage. We are here now. Microsoft has not said when we're going to go to what they call the disruptive change. Again, they want to make sure they address some gaps. Yes, there will still be some missing features from Classic, but you will get a notice before we go into. So what's going to happen is you're going to come in the office one day. New Outlook will be the default, and you will have the toggle to actually opt out to go to New Outlook, and you will get a notice.
Yeah. Now, from what I've been working with a lot of companies, New Outlook is adding features. They're adding features monthly, if not weekly. Yeah, a lot of the features that are in Classic Outlook are coming to the New Outlook. Again, they've had to completely revamp the entire architecture of the application.
They have. They actually rebuilt it, right? So, in my mind, this is what I think. Think about, you have a classic car, and you keep adding all these new, features and functionalities based on what's new technology that we have today, right? So they said, let's just start from scratch, let's build it and roll it out. Now, a lot of people always ask, why roll it out with a lot of core missing features? And I don't have the answer for that.
Yeah, Malaya, now the stuff you mentioned here, flagging folders, rules, folders under rules, those features are available in the New Outlook now, and they do have categories and also reminders. And I'm sure Teresa will show you all that here coming up soon. All those features are available. The version you might be using that was on your desktop might not be the latest one. Like I said, they keep updating it monthly, if not weekly. Yeah. So, if you want to try, like I said, if you want to try out the newest stuff, I always go to the Outlook for the web app, because it's 99% what the new Outlook client is going to be.
And I'll mention, you mentioned that they roll out new features monthly. Here's the opportunity for me to say, check out my YouTube channel, Track Creations 4E, because I always post a video of what features are rolled out. And I heard somebody talk about flagging folders and rules. I'm going to show you some of that in the demonstration. So let me go back to here. So I was asking the question, how do you manage your inbox? And what we do is we review, we respond, and we retain our messages. And so it would be really nice, that we can automate filing to effectively review. Let's get all that clutter out of our inbox so we can focus on what we need to take action on. And I'll show you some features around that. The second thing is, before responding, you want to act, follow up, create tasks so you can effectively respond in a timely manner. Again, normally you would take like 2 minutes to take care of a email. Others may require task reminders, and the task management in New Outlook is different from Classic, and I will showcase some features there. And then lastly, retain. What are some of the best practices to archive filing to effectively, easily retain your messages? I'd like to say we are email hoarders, and I want to tell you respectfully, of course, some emails we don't need to keep forever or not even 6 months. And I'm going to show you how to set the retention policy to automatically delete those messages. So let me go into the demonstration. Can you still see my screen? Perfect. So the one thing that I usually advise people to do is, you do have the ability to come in first thing in the morning, try the New Outlook so you can get used to it. And if you stumble and need to, I know mail merge is not available in New Outlook, There's some other quick parts are not available. If you need those features, you can also open up the classic as well. And the way to do that, I'm in Windows 11, by the way. Just type in Outlook, and you will see the Outlook app icon as well as new Outlook. So you can actually open these. Now, I don't recommend that you have them side by side way I have it on the screen, but I just want you to see that you can open these up at the same time. Okay, let's get this here. So I had mentioned that automate filing to effectively review. You guys already have focus in other in classic. One, important emails. You can train Outlook to stay in your focus, and stuff that you don't need to see right away will be in the other tab. So you're already aware of that. One of the things that I like is the sweep command. I may have, oops, I've already moved it. I may have a bunch of emails from this particular vendor. You can choose multiple ones if you want to, and I can sweep. I can say move all these messages from the inbox, and I want to move them to a folder of my choice, right? Think about you're on vacation, you come back, you have all these emails, you want to tend to it later, you want to clear it out. This is what I call the ad hoc move. The other one is, what if I say, hey, I want to move all emails from this vendor, vendor, and all future ones. So automatically, anytime it hits my inbox, it would automatically go to the folder of choice. But what if you say, hey, I just want you to keep the latest version and move everything else? So just think about it. If you get something weekly, it will stay there until the following one hits again, and it would move in. And then you have the one that sits in your inbox for 10 days and automatically be removed. I think 10 days is a little bit too long, but nevertheless, you have that option. So that's the sweep command that's going to help you automate your filing and clean out your inbox. So that's one. The next one is the rules. And so let me go here. So number one, I have a category, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. You can add categories under your favorites in New Outlook, so I easily can get to those emails. Also notice it's telling me the location of these emails and what folder that they're in. So that's nice. But let me show you how you can create a rule. So I'm going to just manage. And I'm going to open this one for the sake of time. Let me mention this. If you have multiple accounts, that you can easily manage the rules for any of these accounts just by switching them. I can go to Nestor and create any rules, or I can go back to Adele. But let's take a look at this, because Microsoft has really simplified the way you create rules. But I have to mention, I always like to tell you best practices and limitations, that these rules are only for what's going to hit your inbox, not sent. I know power users in Classic also create rules for sent. So inbox only. But you easily just come and choose your condition, and to make this wider. You can choose people, your name, your subject, keywords. So very similar to Classic. And I want anything that comes from this email address. Well, I want to categorize it. So I choose an action. When you can move, you can copy, you can pin to top. So I know that Lance is going to send me some important emails. I automatically want to go to the top. And I'm going to talk about pinning in a second. But you can create your rules. And I'm just going to say another action. I want this to be moved to my temp keep folder. I'm going to run it now, and I'm going to save it. That's simple. Before, a lot of people used to be intimidated by creating rules in the classic because they gave us everything that we ever needed, right? And power users took advantage of it, but some of the avid users wouldn't even touch it. They thought it was a bit much. So that's the third way to automate your filing. I talked about focus, and other, sweep command, and rules. What are some of the things that you can do to act, follow up, and create tasks effectively? So notice I have these emails. So for my demo, I will mark things and I want to pin it to the top because it's easy for me to get to it. I don't have to scan and look for those emails. So hover over email, hit pin. The thing that is different, a lot of people use the flagging to help them. Well, what's different with flagging? I have to go search for it. Up there it is. Now I don't have to worry about doing that. Couple things around filtering. So let's say I'm going to filter. Let's say that I'm a leader and I've been in meetings all day and I want to quickly follow up on anybody sending me any calendar invites. So now, this was new, by the way, this just got rolled out this month, that now I can easily come in here and look at all my calendar invites that's in my inbox and take action, right? If you choose an email, an RSVP that has already taken place, and I'm going to open this one, I can also easily come in and follow up. I can schedule a next meeting because say I didn't get to be there. I can reply to an organizer. I can reply to all attendees, and you can easily do that. Couple more things around filtering. Let's say I'm looking for Nestor. So they've improved the way you search or filter. I now can say I'm looking for something from Nestor that has files in it, and it's going to look at it. Oh, well, maybe it wasn't in the files. Maybe it was on Teams, and it would go find it. Now, if I go back to mail, if I'm looking for something that has attachments and marked important, just that quick, right? Like, give me some thumbs up. What do you guys think about that? These are just some enhancements that has been made in New Outlook. So let me go back to, I want to talk about categories. So with categories, I can scroll through. I see this one. Notice that I've already added to my favorites because this is something I need to get to right away. I could either click on it from the message pane, and I can see it's telling me that these are in my inbox, or training. I'm looking for that. These are in my inbox. And we just recently moved all of our security here. So nice way. I'm going to go to my personal email right quick. This one here, MVP communications. I want access to these emails that come through from different people. You could see there's over 800 of them. I've created a rule, number one, to say anything that comes from these different, because there's multiple email addresses, come into this one folder. I've added a category. So now if I'm interested in what's going on here, because I may be laying in bed at night and just want to kind of scan through to see what's going on, I can do that just that quick. And again, come back and hit exchange. What's all up under here. And I can, again, review. I had hid these for privacy purposes, but I can come and look and see what interests me and get rid of them. That's how I like to use categories today in New Outlook. Couple more things. I do want to share with you that a lot of folks haven't made the shift to New Outlook because they have a lot of templates in Classic. Well, just this month, Microsoft has given you the ability to not only save, and I'll show you how to save it in a second, but you can save an email now and it goes, I had it originally go to my downloads folder, and I can open these email now. We didn't have that ability before. And like I said, this just recently rolled out. So you now can do that. And let me go back here for a second. And to do that, all you do is right click on an email, hit save as, and it would go to your downloads. So the next one is, you come back over here. Folks said, well, I can't open my templates. Now I've created me a shortcut to get to my templates, which is the path, username, app dep, roaming, Microsoft, and templates. Well, here's that template, OFT files. I open it. Here's my template. And it is opened in new Outlook. So a lot of folks was not making that change because they didn't have access to their templates. Now you do. Okay, we're still on act, follow up, task, and effectively respond because our templates help us with that, right? So now it's available to you. A couple more things under this category. So let me click on my training categories. I'm going to come up at the top and click on my day, which is part of the task and the to-do. I can do a couple things. I can take this email and just drag it to the calendar. Because when I drag it to the calendar, I know that every week, every Friday that reporters do, every Wednesday, I reserve an hour to take care of that email. And there it is. I was going to say, didn't pop up. So I can go ahead. It does not create a task because it's on my calendar. But here's what's really important, folks. Make sure you turn this off. Make sure you turn that off. Remove the person's name because they'll get an email. The other one is that you can just drag it and you can create a task. So here with the task, you have a snapshot of your task listed here. You can switch between all your multiple accounts. You can actually take a peek here and you can create groups as well. And that's another day. I'll get into talking about all that, but I did want to show you if you needed to see your flagged emails, here they are. Now, the one thing that I will tell you to do is you now can file this away because the email is attached. So you can file this so you're reducing clutter from your inbox because it's attached. Okay, so that's that. The last one I want to talk about is archiving files to easily retain. Notice here my favorites, and I just put these here for the purpose of this training. I have LinkedIn 6 months, Think Media, because I get an email from them every day, for 6 months. I already showcased how much emails I get here. So all you have to do is just right click and say assign policy and choose when you want that information be deleted. Now, I could tell you this MVP folder up here was actually 2,500 messages because I originally had it at 6 months. That's just way too much. If I haven't looked at it by now, and I'm not going to look at it. And so I reduced it to 3 months, that anything after 3 months, it will automatically get deleted. One last thing I will show you is under View, Settings, you can search for different settings that you may not know. Remember how we used to click on each one of these and we would scan through them to try to find what we're looking for. You now can just type in storage and it tells me. So it's letting me know it was under accounts and storage. And now I can look at my storage and make a decision on what to keep and what to delete. I can easily say, you know what? Anything that is older than 3 months, 6 months, or 12 months, get rid of it. I don't need it. It's taking up space because for me, as a having a business standard license, I only get a terabyte of space. I don't want to keep newsletters that I don't need anymore, and I can take a look. Now, I just wish Microsoft would give me a link for me to get back and review what's in there so I can make a decision. But this was 2,500 emails. And I said, you know what? I need to reduce this from 6 months to 3 months to, because I don't need all of that. Okay.
Does that permanently delete them, or does it just put them in the dumpster?
In the dumpster. It puts them in the dumpster. And if you needed to, let me go back to Adele. If you needed to, they will be here. Or don't forget, folks, you have this recovery items deleted from this folder. So they would go in here for another 30 days.
Just quick thing. These are the defaults. Some companies, your company might have special retention policies. So you might not see, when you right click, you might not see some of those features available depending on what they set up. Also, if you're on legal hold, even if you try to delete those and delete them, they're going to have a copy of that email as well. So just remember those little things.
I'm glad that you mentioned that. The other thing that I would add is Microsoft's default is 2 years unless your company has made that change. Absolutely. Absolutely. Any questions? I know that I just shared a lot, and I wanted to, jumpstart you on, I have pop-ups coming up. Bring this slide back up. I wanted you to jumpstart you to start thinking about, how you can effectively review, respond, and retain, right? After, I call it accelerate after inbox management. And there are a lot others, but those are the ones that I wanted to show you today. And Microsoft has a lot of new features that's going to be rolling out. Offline functionalities supposed to be coming this month. Searching your task list. I'm excited about that. That's coming. Being able to save your attachments to a local folder instead of just going to download. Couple others, share folders to favorites, categorizing, conditional formatting is coming as well, just to name a few. So I'll open up the floor for questions. Like I said, I know that was a lot that I shared with you today.
In the chat, I put a link. Thank you, Teresa. I put a link to the Microsoft 365 roadmap. You can actually look up Outlook and see what's going to be coming out and what exactly features are going to be coming out. Again, the new Outlook is not there yet, but again, we're not forgetting the power users. We're really not. They're not.
Hermina said, "Don't punish us power users." Again, features are coming, right? So keep in mind, that's why I wanted to start out with the whys. Keep in mind, they built the new Outlook from scratch, right? And so features are coming.
Hermit, are you saying you like to move files to OneNote? Is this for like a team or a group that you have?
No, what I actually do is business, all of our customers have their own OneNote where we keep all of our communication and notes and I like to move my emails to OneNote from that, that has to do with that customer. And then I can take that email out of my inbox and I can also share OneNote with anybody else in the organization that needs to get at that.
Well, in the groups feature, the groups icon, there is you have an access to a OneNote. So if you have a group that you work with internally, that you have like a group mailbox, a group calendar, and like it's a whole new thing that Microsoft's putting out under the groups. Let me share my screen real quick if I can.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Yeah, but I know in Classic it was really easy access. There was actually an icon at the top of the screen that they can just easily send it to Outlook. That is not available yet.
Right.
And I could share a little bit at MVP Summit that came up, and that was mentioned to the product managers there.
Yeah, well, this is one of the things I was talking about. I have a whole separate thing I've done on this, but in the new Outlook, you have this Groups tab, which is like you used to have distribution lists, and you say you would share your OneNotes with everyone and everything like that. Well, what you can do is have a OneNote that's connected to a group that you have, like a distribution group, but now it's called a Microsoft 365 group. So you can have a OneNote in here, and you can have all those emails that your customers, you can set up a rule to forward those emails or move those emails to this group. And then you have all those emails in this group. You wouldn't necessarily need the OneNote for internal users, but you could also have a OneNote available here that would actually open a OneNote for you. And then you could do what you need to do, copy and paste those emails into the OneNote as you needed to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's again, we understand, and the best thing I can tell anyone to do when you have these questions of these use cases that you're doing is to go to the blogs, go to the adoption website. I'll try to provide that as well. There's a lot of community blogs that I'm involved in, Teresa's involved in, Paul as well, that we're all asking people about how to use their product and how the best way they need to be able to transition it. And but a lot of times you don't know where to put the feedback. Well, there's these blogs and there's people like us you can ask. So send us your questions and we can find the answers, or at least we can get it to Microsoft. We can definitely forward it on to Microsoft and say this is something that people want. I have 20, 30 people that are asking me for this particular feature alone. Is just something that's going to be on the roadmap. We have monthly meetings, we have monthly talks where we talk about how customers are adopting the product. And when we run into issues like this, when we transition from an older product to a new product, it's the whole thing with the templates is huge. That just came out last month. I had a lot of people not wanting to go to the new Outlook because they couldn't use their templates, of course. And I'm like, that's a valid point. I couldn't save an email and use it as a template for something else without opening the old Outlook. And so, like I said, they have been having to architect the entire application to fit with all the new applications that they've been coming out with the new OneNote, the new Planner, the new Teams, and everything that they've been revamping to make it all work. And
I will also mention is up under the help tab, click on the feedback, give them that feedback, because it was shared with us that they do look at the feedback, and especially they do it for all applications, but right now they really want to hear from the end users how you're using it. And I'll give you a little bit of coaching on how to provide feedback, because where I'm on Tech Community, my YouTube channel, people just vent, right? They just vent. They're not always nice. So make sure that you tell them this is new Outlook, what, application that you're using, new Outlook. You want to state what you cannot do and what the suggestion is, and then and provide them that, because the more that you can provide them how you use it and understanding your workflow, is going to help them, make their decision. So keep that in mind on how to really give them proper feedback, because like I said, I see a lot on Tech Community. People are just venting and enraged, and sometimes the key message get missed behind the tone of the email. So I'll share that with you. because they are really wanting people's feedback. It's not like how in the past, years ago, every 3 years we see people, we see Microsoft rolling out a new application. That's not the case this time. Again, I don't know why they chose to get this out in the manner that they're doing it, and they have not shared that reasoning at all. But they did go on record to say that they are rebuilding their trust with end users, right? Because they know that a lot of power users are not very happy with missing some of the missing core features. But I'm starting to see more being rolled out. The other thing that I would mention too is you may see Classic still get some new features. Don't get caught up thinking, they're still investing in Classic, that it's still going to be here. They are moving towards the new Outlook. I always say the new Outlook will be the Outlook in time. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions? Paul, what are your thoughts? Did I change your mind a little bit? Did
No,
anything kind of
I just hate
say,
New Outlook even more now.
Huh?
I hate it even more now. It's just I think they're gonna get it right, because Microsoft do. I just don't understand the process of giving you a tool that's not, the average user will probably be okay with it. And most people who use it are the average user. If you're a power user, it's not ready for launch yet.
Neither was Windows.
Yeah,
neither was Windows.
Copilot's still not ready now. I've had Copilot since I could launch it, and I only got the ability to use Copilot on my desktop last week. And I bought the license 2 or 3 months ago.
Well, I have to say, out of fairness,
But
where do we spend our most time, right? Where do we spend our most time? Is in emails, right? We spend our most time in emails over the other applications. I can see people email first, team second, right? And so out of fairness, yes, there were and are a lot of missing Classic features. It took me the longest to adapt not having my quick parts. And I really missed the quick parts. So how is Copilot being rolled out? Do business still need to opt in when it's available? Copilot, you have to have a license for it, and it's $30 per month for it. So
and you have to pay for a year in advance.
You have to pay for that full year.
Yeah, right now it is still most people are doing. You get the Copilot Pro if you want just a personal edition of it, which is a separate cost as well.
$20.
Yeah, $20. Yeah. So, but yet that is kind of being rolled out as needed. Lots of people are starting to use the Copilot for the apps. Again, it's all coming out all at the same time. I have been working a lot on Copilot and working a lot on the Copilot integration. There's a lot of chatter in Microsoft with that. There are going to be people that come out with custom Copilots. But again, if you're looking at it as a company, you have to take in security, compliance. You have to make sure that the responsible AI initiatives are being followed, which Microsoft has set those. Then you got the third parties, just like any other application out there. You're going to have the straight chat GPT. You got Gemini coming out with Google. You got specialized ones that are going to be for just mobile devices. They got AI coming out that could be downloaded. If you have 2 gigabytes on your phone, you can download an offline version of a Copilot, AI chat client that can be used on your phone. There's so much going on with AI. I would say probably the next year is going to be more standardized. Again, I am currently working on getting my AI certifications in like 3 different vendors, like NVIDIA, Google, and Microsoft. So I'll check back here in the next couple months. I'll be doing an AI series, and we'll have some basic things. The best thing I can tell you to do is just read up on it. Go try it out if you can with the different ones. Like I said, the Copilot Pro is $20. You don't have to buy all that in advance. You can do that and just kind of read up on the basics of how to prompt, which is how to talk to it, and how to get the answers you want. There's a lot of stuff on LinkedIn that you can find. It's good information that is not just rampant. Everybody's saying this, that, and the other about it. It's actually vetted and actual good information to follow up on. And feel free to ask anybody about that. So basically, the basic version is on the Edge browser. That's correct. Yeah, it's the basic version. They're trying to roll it out and make it available to most people. It's been done responsibly by Microsoft. They've been actually working on it for a very long time before they just released it, and it's still like Paul said, it's still not there yet, but it's getting there. They just started releasing the computers that have the separate chip that actually works just for the AI. They have an actually separate computer chip, a GPU, that will be on the motherboard that will show that would work just for Copilot or just for whatever AI you're using. So it's
with Copilot with Outlook again, it's going to be, for people who have licensed, Copilot in Outlook will be available to the classic version as well as the new Outlook and web. So that would be available. Right now there's really 2-3 things that you can do with it. You can use the draft with Coach, as well as this draft and summarize an email. That is awesome.
Both are very cool. If you got a long newsletter and you just want to know what it's about, it'll summarize your email very quickly.
Yes.
And it's really great how it's integrated. The writing feature, actually, we were trying that today. I didn't like it. They didn't like it this much. We actually got a better response out of Chat GPT, but again, I mean, it's an evolving thing. So, AI is a probability.
It's our future.
It's our future, though. It's
our future.
So anyway, any other questions, anyone? All right. Well, we're at the top of the hour. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Paul, for your time. We will go ahead and close this out. I thank everyone for attending. We will have this video available. I'm sure Teresa will have her video available too, and Paul will too, for the stuff they showed, so you can go and revisit that as well. I will have a post of the session as well. And again, we have this every Friday, usually at 10 a.m. This week is 1 p.m. Next week's topic's not finalized yet, but I think we're going to talk things identity, doing some identity management, things like that. So I got some other speakers coming on board. And anyway, thank you all again, and we will see you next week.